So, action step. How are you going to stay anchored today? What things are you going to do that will keep you anchored in making sure that you don't lose the sight of what we just read today, and keep it at the forefront? Just say, I'm not going to rush. I'm going to take a break, we'll take a breath, and just trust God. Yeah. You just trust God. Say, God has this. And everything, because when you think about it, it's having the confidence to say God has it. Because if you even look at it, like, zooming out, it's like, okay, Christ came down for us. Again, that was God's love. Because again, Christ is seated at the right hand of the Father. And at the right hand of the Father, he is the reflection of the Father. He's a reflection of God. And he set aside his own divinity in the sense of his glory. He may not use divinity, but he set aside his glory. That's what he set aside. And he came down in human form. And he also left us an example of what it looks like to listen to God. Because if you remember, before he was crucified, he prayed. This is one of the prayers like in John that always gets you, where Christ was praying. And he also prayed to God. He's like, take this cup away from me. He had asked God. That was the first time he'd heard Christ like, oh, this is a lot. Like he was in pain. Like he was in pain. And, just thinking about that imagery as well, what he had to go through. Like he already knew before the flogging, everything, what was going to happen to him. He already knew. And he was like, take a cup away from me. Take this cup away from me. But he also never said, let your will be done. He said, let your will be done. And again, if you're just thinking about it, it's, he knew what was going to happen. Like the way that he was flogged. I know we watch the Passion, we watch and hear about how the resurrection, not the resurrection, but how the crucifixion happened and what Jesus looked like. And a lot of the depictions of what that looked like is actually not that accurate, because a lot of people that recorded what happened at that time was that the movies can't even depict what actually happened to Christ. The pain, the suffering that he had to go through, because people could have recognized Christ at that time. So what we want to do is realize or really think about what is the example that Christ actually left for us. How did Christ stay anchored? What are the things that Christ told us to do to remain anchored? Right. So this, I'm talking about this to just help us really think about it and reflect on what are we actually doing to remain centered in what's our limit to the point where we're like, okay, how much can I take before I'm crying or running around, like, losing my mind? And the question is, can you trust God till the end? Can you trust God till the end? As you read in Isaiah, like they rushed because they're like, okay, like we have to do something. Let's go to Egypt. But the question is, can you stay put in stillness till the end? Right. So this is stuff that we want to reflect on. It's like, what is that holy following? Now, moving on to uh, the Christ example and what Christ taught us is he left instructions for us. Everything centered around love and things that we do each day that allow us to show our faith through love will help us anchor and stay anchored in Christ things. Because the greatest commandment is loving God, right? With all your mind and mind, soul, and strength. With all your strength. Yeah, mind, soul, and strength. And when you think about that, how do you show God that you love him? And the second commandment is love your neighbors as you love yourself. Those are the two greatest commandments. So any time that we're moving, the things that we do, like always ask ourselves, okay, am I showing love? Right? Am I showing love? Am I showing that I love God? Am I worshiping God? Because worship is a way to show God that you love him. So I always believe in worship music and worshiping God. At the moment we wake up, it could be praying, right? Like, how do you stay anchored in the day? It could be praying. It could be listening to worship music, the things, what contents, the kind of content that you actually consume, because it also works on your heart posture, the content that we consume as well, because it works on our mind, it works on our hearts. So we always want to make sure that we're consuming the right kind of content that's also allowing us to live a life that's centered with Christ. So yeah, so that's something that I think we can reflect on.